5 words, sent at 2:48 a.m. from a number nobody could identify, and the man who received them had just told God he wanted to die. Not dramatically, not in anger, just quietly. He was sitting alone in a grocery store parking lot. It was raining, and 47 minutes after that prayer, his phone lit up. 5 words. When he read them, he realized something strange. It was a sentence from a Bible story he hadn't thought about since he was a kid. I am sharing this story with you because what happened to him is something a lot of people go through, but nobody really talks about. Marcus was the guy people went to when life fell apart. He was a deacon at his church, a praise team member, a marriage mentor. People trusted him and respected him. Marcus was the guy everyone called when they were struggling. But there's a question people rarely ask. What happens when the strong one is the one falling apart? 3 years before that parking lot night, Marcus's wife sat him down at their kitchen table, and she told him something that shattered everything. She had been cheating on him, not once, for 2 years. The room went silent, and Marcus said something most people wouldn't say. He said, "Okay, let's fix it." Because when you've built a life with someone, your first instinct isn't to leave, it's to fight for what you built. 6 months later, Marcus was standing at a podium in church leading a workshop on forgiveness. People were taking notes. Some were even crying. But there was something nobody in that room knew. Marcus hadn't slept through the night in 4 months. He had helped 14 people through divorce that year. He hadn't told a single one of them what was happening in his own house, because there's a difference between being healed and becoming really good at performing healed. 9 months after that workshop, his wife left, and this time he couldn't stop her. She said she met someone else. The house felt twice as big that night and twice as quiet. 3 weeks later, Marcus lost his job. Company restructuring. Nothing personal, they said. And suddenly the man who had been helping everyone else hold their lives together couldn't hold his own. He still went to church every Sunday. He still raised his hands during worship. But sometimes he caught himself wondering if God could tell the difference between real faith and muscle memory. You know that feeling? When you're surrounded by people who are worshiping and you're just hoping nobody looks too closely at your face, because one of the loneliest places a person can be is surrounded by people who think you're strong. I need to stop here for a second, because what I'm about to tell you is the part most people leave out of the testimony. Let's get back to that night. Around 2 a.m, Marcus got in his car and started driving. No destination. He just needed to get out of that apartment. Eventually, he pulled into the parking lot of a grocery store that was closed. Rain hitting the windshield. He then prayed the most honest prayer he'd prayed in years. "God, I'm tired. I'm really tired. If this is what life is going to feel like from now on, I don't want to do it anymore." Marcus sat there for 47 minutes, waiting for something. Maybe it's peace or a feeling. At that point, anything would do. But nothing came. Just silence. Rain kept on falling down hard. Then at 2:48 a.m., his phone lit up. A text message from a number he didn't recognize. It said 5 words. "The journey is too great for you." The next morning, someone knocked on his door. It was his neighbor, a young man Marcus barely knew. He was holding a plate of breakfast. He said, "I made too much food this morning. Thought you might want some." The eggs were a little overcooked. The toast was slightly burned, but Marcus said it was the best breakfast he'd eaten in months. Halfway through the plate, he started crying. Not because anything was fixed, but because for the first time in months, he felt like God hadn't forgotten where he lived. While sitting there eating, Marcus suddenly remembered something. A story from the Bible about the prophet Elijah. Elijah had just called fire down from heaven, one of the greatest miracles in history. And right after that victory, he ran into the wilderness, sat under a tree, and prayed almost the exact same prayer. "God, it's enough. Take my life. I'm done." Same words, different location. And you know what God did? He didn't correct him. He didn't give him a motivational speech. He didn't tell him to read his Bible more. He sent an angel. And the angel touched him and said, Get up and eat. The journey is too great for you. And there was bread on a fire right there next to him. Then Marcus recognized that God didn't send a sermon. God sent him breakfast. Marcus realized that neighbor at the door that morning wasn't a coincidence. That was the same God doing the same thing he always does, meeting people right where they are. Marcus never went back to being the polished church leader he used to be. Now he runs a small group, 8 guys, every week. Real conversations, real struggles. Because people who are drowning don't need someone who looks like they've never been in water. They need someone who knows what it feels like to sink. So if you're sitting in your own parking lot tonight, wondering if God is still paying attention, I want you to hear this. God is not offended by your honesty. Silence doesn't always mean he's absent. If you're carrying something heavy right now, we built something called CM Companion, specifically for moments like this. It's a faith-based app that walks with you through exactly this kind of thing. No judgment, no performance required, just you being real, and a tool that meets you there. You can get to it right now at champagneministries.com. The journey might be too great for you right now. That's okay. That's not the end of your story. But for now, just know that breakfast is on the way.